I want to start off this video by saying this is not going to be a normal video. I feel like I have to say that because I've got a lot of new subscribers here and many of you don't know what to expect from me. I can safely say that I almost never make videos like this. I didn't plan on making this video and I hope I never have to make another video like this again, though I know that's very unlikely. The difference between this video and my usual videos is that while I will still be speaking to you as Shady Doorags the Entertainer, I will not be trying to entertain you. This is a topic that's serious to me, and while I could easily do it in my usual Shady Doorags style, I think it's more appropriate that I leave the hyperbole at the door. I also understand that sometimes seeing a video like this on a particular channel can be annoying. Some of you might be upset because you come to my channel to escape drama like what I'm about to talk about, while others might think I'm being uppity by acting like I have the moral high ground on anything, when I'm just a guy who takes cartoons a little too seriously. I know I sometimes get upset when my favorite YouTuber does this kind of stuff as well, so I'm understanding if you dislike me for making this video. Still, there are times where you need to take a stand, and I think one of those times is for me right now. In recent months, the YouTuber Just a Robot, also known as Jar, found himself involved in some drama. Jar was facing criticism for some of the comments he made on another internet personality named Toby. During this time, people who opposed Jar began guilt-shaming him for some of the stuff he said, as well as some of the jokes he made. People even went and dug up old videos from his past, which had nothing to do with the current drama, and also shamed him for those.
Because when I decided to dig into Jar and his channel for a general response to him, I realized how awful he is, not just as a content creator, but as a person.
Essentially, instead of sticking to the points Jar made about the issues he was talking about, they went out of their way to paint him as unlikable by claiming he's racist, unable to take criticism, and other character attacks like that. So, to make things perfectly clear, what I'm commenting on is the attack on Jar's character because of the jokes and comments he made that people might take offense to. I don't care about the Toby drama itself. I don't even know who Toby is or what they did. I also don't care if you have criticisms in general on Jar. I have criticisms in general on Jar, and I've never been afraid to voice them. If you dislike Jar in any way because of what he said, and not because he offended someone, this video is not referring to you. My comment on such a situation is simple. It's ridiculous. Utterly ridiculous. I don't think Jar has been dealt a fair hand here. There are a lot of criticisms about Jar that made no sense, but to keep things simple, I'm going to specifically address the racist accusations.
You can just look into Jar and his channels and you find a clear pattern of racism that's continued all the way until today.
So let's talk about the word racist. It used to be a neutral term meaning to judge someone based on their ethnicity or racial characteristics. You could hold the opinion all Hispanics are great people and still be racist because even though you're not saying something negative, it was an opinion based exclusively on race. The most popular definition of the word became how it was used to describe someone who harshly judges people negatively purely on their ethnicity to an extreme degree, often influencing the judge's actions. If you withheld a job from someone or arrested them because of their skin color, this was applied to you. Naturally, people began harboring hatred for anyone who met this specific definition. Then the 2010s came and the term racist became extremely muddied. It started meaning a lot of different things, but people knew they were supposed to hate racists due to the popular definition. So the hatred from the popular definition began to apply to people who met these new definitions, even though it's undeserving. And this is what leads me to people accusing Jar of being racist. Jar was not being racist. He was called racist because he made people feel uncomfortable, and those people wanted to make their audience feel just as uncomfortable from his actions. Let's take this example.
Okay, bro, you look like you're barely Native American. You could easily pass for a white guy. When I think of a Native American, I think of someone looking like John Redcorn, not a white boy with black hair. If white privilege is so amazing, then just say you're a white guy. You could easily pass for one.
Now, if you have no context, this can seem a bit racist. And when Jar told me that others were guilt-tripping about this comment he made, I almost joined on their side because without context, it does seem bad. But then I actually saw the clip and I immediately had context because unlike a lot of people who jumped on this bandwagon, I was there when Jar originally made this video, and I knew that the comment feels completely different when you understand the circumstances around it. At the time of making the comment, Jar was responding to a BuzzFeed video, and in the video, the Native Americans condescendingly asked, why do white people tell them they don't look Native American? And this was Jar's answer. It's right in your face with no in-depth explanation because that's how Jar runs his channel. Let's try hearing the exact same point, but handled in a different way. Say, my way of heavily scripting what I say.
Why do you tell me I don't look like a Native American?
What the fuck does a Native American look like?
The reason people tell you that you don't look Native American is because your skin tone and hair color follow the same patterns as traditional Caucasians. Your condescending attitude doesn't make sense when you realize people have been exposed to more Caucasians than Native Americans that share your physical features. The human brain is a pattern recognizing machine, and if it's seen more Caucasians that look like you than Native Americans, that's the comparison it's going to make. I would immediately assume this guy is Native American because his skin tone matches the majority of Native Americans as well as Native American portrayals I've knowingly come across. You guys are acting like being Caucasian is so much easier than being anything else. But if that's the case, why not just pose as one and live an easier life? Your biology is so similar that of a stereotype Caucasian, you could easily pass as one and get the supposedly easy lifestyle. And that's it. I kid you not, we said the exact same thing. Jar just talks in his videos as if he's having an actual conversation. He doesn't try to make you understand every little detail. Whereas with my scripted way of speaking, I try to make sure you understand my intentions as much as possible to minimize confusion. It's not something you hear an everyday person saying. Now you could make the argument that Jar's video should be more like mine, and that his diction could be implemented better. But that's a much different problem than labeling him a racist. And I would actually disagree with that. Yeah, Jar should be thinking about what he's saying, but his way of speaking is one of the things that drew me to his channel. There are some channels out there who are good at making you feel like you're just having a conversation with someone, and it's very refreshing. There are many examples like this of Jar saying insensitive things, but when you add the context to them, they are clearly not racist. Even if this was a black avatar of Jar, which it isn't, having this does not make him racist. Jar saying the N-word with a hard R to quote people does not make him racist. Jar making a joke about a movie dealing with racism and putting said joke in his outro does not make him racist. At worst, these acts make him racially insensitive. That is, he was doing things that people of certain races might find offensive specifically because of the race they are. But I know what you're thinking. Isn't Jar saying whatever he wants and not thinking how certain ethnicities will feel about it just as bad as being racist? No, it's not. And it's a really big problem that people think these two are even remotely comparable. People want the act of being racially insensitive to upset someone as much as being a racist does, so they use the term racist to describe it. You're giving a major punishment for something it doesn't fit to. So why exactly am I bringing something like this to my channel when it has nothing to do with me? Especially since I know some of my audience isn't going to be happy with me talking about this. I'm kind of just making trouble for myself for no reason. Well, there are a couple of reasons. The first is simple. I don't think what happened to Jar is right, and I feel I need to defend him. Normally, I would think Jar could deal with a situation like this on his own, as he's no stranger to drama. But his response video made me feel like he was taking on a little more than what he could handle. I wanted to do something to let Jar know that there are still those of us who know the truth, that he shouldn't have to apologize because some people find what he did insensitive. Like I said, I was there when Jar made his early videos. I was one of his first fans. I was there when he first started getting big. And you know what he did? He helped those around him to try and get bigger as well. It didn't matter their race. He allowed people to come on his channel and make videos, yours truly included. It bothers me so much that people just want to throw this label on this guy without actually looking at what he did. They just see a random comment and think that's good enough. You should not be trying to destroy people like that. The second reason is basically karma. I myself am racially insensitive. In my last King of the Hill video, I made a few really insensitive race jokes. Shoot, my white avatar was actually used as a joke to say I was white. It's only a matter of time before someone tries to come at me with something like this. And I hope me standing my ground now for someone else helps when I have to stand my ground later for myself. But the final and biggest reason I made this video is because I want people to know where I stand on this issue. This is nothing new. We've seen time and time again people try to be canceled because of the insensitive things they said. I hate how sensitive society has become to people doing certain things, and I hate how people feel the need to destroy someone's reputation because they said something offensive. Not just the calling people racist nonsense, but using ethos arguments in general to attack people's character instead of their actual points. We get it, you're sensitive about these things, but stop forcing your sensitivity on other people. You want people to apologize for jokes or comments because of how they make people feel rather than if the comments hold any truth. If you can't say something nice, don't say anything at all is a child's level of thinking. It's actually very hypocritical because you yourself are not saying something nice when you tell someone that. People need to be informed of the facts, regardless of how insensitive those facts may be, so we can address the conversation honestly. Does that mean people should never apologize for a joke or insensitive comment? No. They just need to make sure the comment is worth apologizing for. If you were trying to be offensive but you regret doing so, then apologize. If you weren't trying to be offensive, but you still said or did something that could easily be misconstrued as offensive to the majority of the specific audience you were addressing, not to another audience who happened to overhear it, then apologize. Otherwise, the words "I'm sorry" have no reason to leave your mouth. All in all, Jar has a lot of flaws, but he has shown no proof of being racist, and people should stop trying to randomly discredit those they disapprove of with words that don't hold the same meaning, and instead, just argue what they actually say. Again, I don't care if you have an issue about what Jar said about the Toby drama. I don't care if you have a problem with Jar in general, and I don't even care if you think his wording could be better. But don't misrepresent what he's done because you have a problem with those aspects about him. Attacking someone's character when it has nothing to do with the argument at hand is a cowardly tactic that has worked too well over the past decade and needs to stop.